I've got our good friend Ronnie Gray, one of the members of our professional advisory board with FitLife magazine, with us today. We're going to talk about supplements. Ronnie, you've picked out your top 3. Now, qualify this. This is something that you recommend. Is this something that you use yourself? And I understand it's something that you recommend for your clients, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, it's getting close to the new year, and everyone's getting ready for their resolution to live a little bit healthier, right? And, any new client I receive, they always want to ask me, well, what supplements should I buy? Even if they're not my client, random guys and gals in the gym.
That has to be the most common question asked, I think, is what
supplements do you take? I actually get that question messaged to me probably daily, either in words or in Facebook or whatever. So for me, I thought this would be a good time to at least lay out my basic 3. And then actually there's an optional 4 I kind of throw in there for some people. So the first one is a good multivitamin. So I'm a big fan of multivitamins that aren't tablet-based. There was some research done that says that they don't quite dissolve and break down. So any encapsulated multivitamin I'm a big fan of. Specifically for myself, I use Vitamin Code. It's all vegetable-based, and it gets all your micronutrients, your A, your B, your C, all the letters that you can't name and don't know why you need them, but you do. They're all great for regulatory function in daily life. So if you're training, they're even that more imperative. The second one is a good protein. Everyone kind of knows protein, but it's very overwhelming when you go to the store or you Google protein to find the right one. And it probably will always be like that in this day and age. There's so many. But I typically recommend a good isolate. If you go into this GNC and say that, he'll know what you mean. He should, or else he should not work there. Typically isolates don't mess with your stomach. They're basically pre-digested. I personally use Dimetized Elite, but I don't work for them. I don't get any. That's just what I use. It works well for my stomach. So a good isolate protein is the second thing. The third thing is creatine. And some of you who maybe potentially are women watching this, I don't know, you might say, well, creatine's not for girls. And that's absolutely false. From that perspective, men and women all have creatine naturally stored in their body. All you do when you supplement creatine is make sure that your creatine stores are at their top level. And that's good for male, female. Creatine monohydrate is the one you want to look for because it's one, it's the cheapest. 2, it's been studied time and again to be completely, there's no ill effects from creatine. The worst thing you might get is a little cramping. So obviously you would need to make sure you drink water. So you should be doing that anyways. But, I recommend at least a half gallon of water a day for everybody. If you're doing that, you should never cramp. If you never drink water and all you drink is soda, you probably have all kinds of other issues we don't even have time to get into today.
Right.
But those are the big 3: creatine monohydrate, a good protein, and then a good multivitamin. And then the last option, when I say from a workout perspective, is if you need a little pick-me-up, a pre-workout that's mostly maybe green tea, caffeine-based is nice if you really feel that cognitive boost and you feel like you can focus more, sure. Or maybe a little coffee. Black coffee is always good. Really, that's a personal preference. I don't always use caffeine, but there's some days where I'm like, you know what, I'm strung out a little bit, if you will, from work. A little cognitive boost from some caffeinated beverages always helps, but that's not a necessity. The first 3 I say you need. That fourth one, and like I said, that's my personal preference.
That's the option.
Okay. And it seems to work well for me. So.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Ronnie. That's very helpful. I agree on all 4 of those. Actually, I used all 4 of them myself. So, and they're part of what I do. I'm not used to be in the supplement business years ago, and understand it very, very well. I was in the manufacturing end of it as well, and I understand that very well. And I agree on all counts with everything you said. And I'm not, to be truthful, I'm not that big on supplements. I think a lot of it is market-driven product that at the end of the day may be effective at some level, but you have to measure that against the cost. And oftentimes the argument is always going to fall in the favor of a good sound diet rather than buying supplements. But that's my own preference and prejudice. So, but thank you very much for your time, Ronnie. That was very helpful. We're going to add, I'm going to get some information from you offline about dosages and a little bit more information about each of those supplements, and we'll run that along with this article. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Ronnie, for your time today.